Welcome to Behind the Lash Chair. I'm your host, Alexis Weisenburger, founder and owner of AW Lashes. My goal is to help you as a lash artist grow with tips and tricks on lashing, becoming an entrepreneur, marketing, and so much more. This is an amazing place to find free resources and connect with lash artists all around the world. Let's get started. All right, you guys, I'm so excited for this week's podcast. We have the best lineup. We have the LashCast, LashCon here. You guys do so many things. Paul, Tuss, how are you guys?
Excited. Doing great.
Good.
LashCon is in the house. Yeah, no, we're excited. Anytime we can support a fellow podcaster is a good day for us because I feel like this side of our world has exploded, and it's great to see so many people serving our community, helping people, and each of us has our own audience. So it's not like there's only 100 people listen. There's tens of thousands, not over 100,000 people out there to appeal to, and not all of them are going to like me. So it's great to find more people and support and say, hey, go check out this other podcast because I know there's a lot you can offer them.
Oh, yes. I love sharing all of our knowledge. We all have had different experiences and stories, and I'm really excited for this week's topic. Let's just dive into it because there's so much we want to talk about, and it's all about, what options you have in this industry, right? You're not just a lash artist.
Yes.
So, there's so many thoughts. And I remember when I became a lash artist, I kind of remember it was like lash artist, influencer, educator, then you're done.
Yeah.
So what are your guys' thoughts? Because you guys have had such a cool story. I feel like what you guys have done in this industry is so different, which is why I thought this topic would be so cool, because you didn't just do that, and you tried other things, and throwing out ideas to people when they're in a rut, or they're like, man, I'm just lashing. I'm sick of just lashing. I'm going to quit.
Yeah. No, you want to go?
Before I say this, I just want to, it's a wonderful time to be a lash artist, and it's a wonderful time to be part of this community, because the industry is so new that there's so many options, and it's like, it's almost like if you dream it, it can happen, right? Like, there's opportunities to be an educator, there's opportunities for product development, but even those opportunities are brand new, and they're just out there. It's like, if you can solve some of these problems with lashes, you can actually have a career. It's not just being a lash artist.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and I'm going to go both sides on this real quick. One, I think a lot of people don't think they can be a career lash artist. And I want to affirm those out there who are feeling like shame, because I think there's some public shaming, like, oh, you're just a lash artist. Like, we have been to conferences when we had a team, and they would go there and they would say, what do you do? Oh, I work at Integrity Lash. And people are like, oh, you're an employee. Like, they look down on them. They're like, well, I'm happy. I like where I'm working. I get paid well. I'm done at 3:00 every day. I get to go home, be with my kids. Like, there's a lot of good things that can come from having a career just as a lash artist, right? That's not a bad choice. And before we got on the call, I said, in the hair world, you don't hear this so much. Like, hairstylists don't go, I know, I'm going to go to school, get my license, then become a hairstylist for 3 or 4 years, then become an educator, and then own a hairline or something like that. That's not the normal career path for a hairstylist. There are plenty of hairstylists who are killing it, making 6 digits, being a hairstylist and just becoming the best hairstylist in their community and charging premium prices. And I just want to encourage those of you who are feeling that pressure and you're like, well, I kind of like lashes, but everyone always tells me that I need to do more than that. You don't have to do more. You can be a career lash artist. Tustin has been doing lashes almost for 19 years now. 19 years, basically, Tuss has been doing lashes in some way or form. And she, with all the things we're doing, she told me, I do not want to stop doing lashes. That's my passion. That's still my first love. That's what I want to do. And so I just want to affirm for those of you who are feeling a little like self-conscious, like you've been doing it for 5 years, like, I don't feel like I need to give up. I think I can still do this for the rest of my life. Good for you. Please do, because we do need career lash artists. It's not just just a stage in your career. It can be your whole career, and you can create a great life where you now, once you do it for like 15, 20 years, you're charging, $150 an hour. You're working maybe 3-6 hours a day, and you're still making $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 just working part-time, and you're free to do all your family stuff and your other side projects, hobbies, and all that. So I just want to put that out there just in case some people are thinking that way.
It sticks in my craw when people say, I hear influencers or
there's trainers that say this,
that say you cannot do lashes more than 5 years. And I'm
yeah.
Big names that people follow will say you cannot do this for more than 5 years.
Because they think your body will break down and that you will fall apart and die.
Listen, 12 hours a day,
no,
that's impossible. But you can do 8 hours a day. You can do 8
hours.
Yeah.
5 days.
I think we have that in common. Because I've been lashing since 2012. So, and I still lash, even though we have a company where we sell products, but I don't want to stop lashing. Like, I think I would actually pick doing the lashes over the product side, because I do still have a passion for that. And I think, like you said, people are so worried about the burnout. And I think you have that burnout going back to Paul, like when you're first starting out, maybe you're questioning, why did you pick lashes? But like a hairstylist, they push through that grit, right? Like when they're first starting, they're like, oh, I'm not a good hairstylist, but I'll get there. And I hate that it's in the lash industry that they're like, okay, I'm not a natural, I'm just done.
Yeah. That's very true. And I mean, we told our staff it takes you 2 years, and they always came with minimum 1 year experience. So some of these people would take you 1 or 2 years before you came to us. We'd hire you. Then we say it would take you 2 years before we really felt like you can handle anything that walks through that door.
Still, at 2 years, respectfully, I still consider them capable, but they still had so much to learn in terms of, being able to paint with lashes in terms of nuance, right? The cultivation, the mastery, I believe happens like at 5 and 6 and year 7. It's like 30,000 hours before you are able to master something. And I think a lot of lash artists have such a short attention span in terms of like, oh, I've been doing it for 2 years, I'm a master.
Or like you said, I'm not good enough, so I guess I'll just do something else. And I think our theme this year for LashCon is the long game, because we really see a problem in our industry where everyone feels like they need to be at level 100 within the first 6 months of their business. And it's like, stop it. You're playing the short game. And when you do that, you're tempted to make shortcuts and to kind of do little cheats that help you get somewhere faster than you probably should, where you're not going to naturally grow and learn. You're just going to kind of quickly get there, and then you're going to pay for it, because whenever you cheat the system, there's always a price to pay at the end. So we want to encourage people to start thinking 5 years, 10 years down the line. And then, hey, man, after a few years, 3, 4, 5 years, and you're like, yeah, I just can't seem to get the knack of it, then maybe pivot. But don't give yourself 2 years to become a master and have full books as a trainer and have a product line and be an influencer. And you're like, after 2 years, like, man, I suck, I must not be very good. It's like, no one gets there in 2 years. That's ridiculous.
Oh yeah. I mean, think about like a hairstylist. We're just gonna be, that's our theme, hairstylist today. But they go and they just do color for so many years, right? And then they add in the hair extensions, and then they add in, the cool haircuts or things like that. And I kind of think like a lash artist, then you add in the volume, then you add in the mega volume. Mm-hmm. But we want it instantly, like you said, in 6 months, we want to be a mega volume artist.
And the reason for that is because the bar is so low to become a lash artist. Like, there are some places in this country where you don't need a license. Like, you just start doing lashes. You don't even have to do it. You literally can just open up your doors and start doing lashes. That's most states, but there are some states that allow that. Canada's like that, and most of Canadian provinces, you can just do lashes. You don't have to be licensed and everything. And the UK, same thing. So with such a low bar of entry, of course, what's going to happen is there are going to be a lot of people flooding in with all these promises of riches and fame and power and all the things. And then they get in and they realize, oh, it's just like anything else in life. I have to work. I have to hustle. I have to have grit. I have to put in time. I have to do pay the piper, so to speak. And then they go, nah, I don't want to. I don't like it. Or worse, they got into because they thought they'll be rich. They'll be the stupid stuff where everyone's like, millionaire. You can be a millionaire overnight. And the lash artist, which is the average lash artist, probably makes between $30,000 and $60,000 a year. it's going to take you 20 to 30 years to become a millionaire if that's all you make. If you save really hard and you put that money in the bank and you invest it well, yes, in 30 years, you'll be a millionaire. But I'm tired of the.
Don't get me wrong. You
Yeah.
can make a good living doing lashes. But it takes time to cultivate the skill, cultivate the clientele that you want, and be able to cultivate the prices.
Yeah. And build that up. And a lot of people, because I said that low bar, to get in, they realize I hate it. They go, oh, this is what's friend. That's fine. With our kids, we always told them, hey, try everything. You have no choice. We're going to put you in all sorts of sports, camps, things. You're going to do it at least once and find out if you like it or not. And then you can back out and go, no, I tried it, Dad. I hated it. And I feel like that happens for a lot of lash artists. And it's okay if someone's listening right now is going, yeah, I've been doing it for a year and every day I dread going to work. Well, maybe lashes aren't for you. And that's okay, by the way. You tried it, you gave it a shot, and then you can move on to something else and find another interest that maybe you've thought about. There's no shame in trying and not liking something either.
And because the industry is developing so quickly, there's so many opportunities. I said that in the beginning. You may not want to do lashes every day, but maybe you really enjoy product development. You think about tools that you can work on as a lash artist, and you think, oh, this would be a great idea. It's like you can work alongside with a lash company to help develop those. I mean, that's just one aspect. It could be something else. Maybe it's marketing.
I know quite a few lash artists who are no longer lashing, but they are doing social media for companies because they love social media. They love shooting videos. They love the creativity, the stories, the fun, all the quirky things that come with it. And then social media or lash brands are like, oh my gosh, the owner's like, I'm so tired of making reels. I just need someone else to do this for me. And then they go out and they hire someone, and boom, all of a sudden you went from being a lash artist to you're now in the world of marketing and social media. And that's great. I think because it kind of was like your pathway to what you really loved. You found what you enjoyed and you kind of migrated over into that social media. So I think like anything, you might move into something and then you'll find yourself in a totally different place. I mean, I worked in the film industry, for crying out loud. Why am I in the beauty industry? I don't do lashes. I don't have a degree in that. I have a degree in film and television. So for me, my background, I brought my background though into our business because Tuss is a great lash artist. I helped her run a salon for like 10 years or 8 years. And it was fun. We enjoyed building a business. But at the same time, I always was like, well, I have this passion for events. I have a passion for producing. I like making stuff. I like producing videos. I loved all that stuff. So maybe some way we can find a way to take my skills and my background and fuse it with what we're doing in the lash world. And that's why LashCon came into existence. Why LashCast came into existence. Because I, growing up, always wanted to be a radio DJ or a sports announcer. So why not be a DJ, whatever. So it just, I brought those interests into our thing. And one of the things I like to encourage a lot of lash artists as they're thinking about, well, lashes are okay, but man, I really love other things. Like I know at least two, Milena and Abby, these two gals who you probably know. It's not Foxy Faye anymore. She changed her name, but she changed her name to another Coach Abby, I think it is. Anyhow, they are into fitness and into feeling good, like being physically fit while you're doing lashes. So guess what they brought into the lash industry? They're bringing in classes and training to help people be better, able to work long-term because they're taking care of their bodies with fitness. So they took their passion over here and brought lashes and brought them together. And I'm always telling people, you can do that. You can find something that you love to do. Maybe you love design. Maybe you love marketing. Maybe you love sales. You can come in and bring those things and combine them with lashes. I know a bunch of people have had clothing lines, right? Because they love fashion, they love clothes, and they found ways to take that and combine that with lashes and do lash t-shirts and hats and swag and all that type of stuff. So there's so many things. I would just tell a lot of people, like, look at what you love. What do you do in your free time? Is there any way to take what you love and combine that with lashes and create a new service, a new idea, a new way to serve our community? And I think we have not even come close to exhausting all the opportunities. There are so many things waiting to be built that people just haven't done yet because no one has done it. So everyone's always scared to be first, but that's actually the time when you want to go, because when you're first to market, you're going to get the lion's share and you're going to grow and expand much more quickly as long as you're meeting a real need, not just a made up thing in your head. Like, oh, I know, I want to do rabbits and lashes because I love rabbits and I think lashes would be great with rabbits, and they start lashing rabbits. No, I'm sorry, that passion's not going to work. Those two things go together. No one's going to care about your passion for lashing rabbits But you can find other things that do meet that need. I mean, Mark Cuban is a great example, someone who had a passion for basketball. He loves basketball, but Mark Cuban is not a good basketball player. He knew that. He was a tech guy. So what did he do? He went out there and built the first ever online sports network that was all streaming back in the, I think, late 80s or early 90s. Blew up, sold it for millions of dollars. And now he's a multi-billionaire, one of the richest people in the United States. And he owns, guess what? The Dallas Mavericks, because he loves basketball. So he decided, I'm not going to be the player, but I am going to buy the team and still get to enjoy the idea of running a team and overseeing it and all the joys that comes from being involved in the NBA without being a player himself. Now, if he had pursued his passion, like a lot of people say, pursue your passion, pursue your heart, he would have been trying to join the NBA and would have failed miserably. And by the way, he would probably be working at like McDonald's right now, flipping hamburgers while he tried to pursue his NBA or his professional basketball career, which was never going to happen. So there is a little bit of self-awareness needed here to realize your limitations, know what you're not good at, what you are good at. Ask your friends. If you don't know, ask your friends, ask your family for honest feedback. Hey, am I really a great artist? And they're like, actually, you know what? We always kind of laugh when you're not around about your art. Your art sucks. So maybe it's a wake up moment like American Idol where you go on stage and you sing and you realize I'm not such a great singer after all. Some people can be, hopefully you're humble enough to grow and learn and then find what you are good at. And hopefully you can combine those two things.
I feel like you guys did such a good job of like almost being on Shark Tank and finding pain points in the industry, because you guys are doing 2 different projects right now, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, you first, had the podcast, and now you have this huge event, which is such a pain point in the lash industry, because as a product owner, we went to IBS in Vegas or all the IBS shows, and it's so overwhelming because it's, you got the hair, you got lashes, you got skin, you got nails, and it's so cool what you guys are doing to find that pain point. And I feel like we could elaborate on how you guys found that if someone's in a rut and they're like, what is something I want to do in this industry? Like, how did you guys find these pain points? Did you have a passion for podcasts? Did you like go to IBS and you say, this sucks, I want to fix this? Like, we really do need like a show.
Yeah.
Well, one of the main points about being a lash artist, or features of it, is that most of us work alone in a room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can be highly isolating. For a lot of us, we like it because many of us can be introverts. Some of us aren't, though. And for those of us, we still need connection, right? And even though you might like being alone, doing your own thing, over time, that alone in a room can be quite isolating. And there's a desire, an innate desire. I know because I had it, to be connected, to connect with other people that knew the same pain points that I had, so that it wasn't so isolating. I also wanted to be validated in that I was doing a good job. And how could I do that? Because most of us, again, are alone in the room. And if you try to talk to somebody else, they're like, oh, you're my competitor. I'm not gonna talk to you because you're gonna steal my clients or something like that. So I just knew that my needs were like, I needed community, I needed validation, I needed encouragement, I needed those things. And so if I needed those things, I knew that other people did too.
Yeah, I think when we would look back and roll back the clock and go back to 2017, I was at the time really listening to a lot of podcasts, and I was looking for help trying to grow our salon and get help. And our industry in pre-2018, there really wasn't a lot of people sharing information. There's some Facebook groups like Wake Up in Your Makeup, but otherwise, if you went to conferences, you would actually see people go on stage and talk for 30 minutes and literally share nothing. They would just say, I'm a big deal. I used to be poor. Now I'm rich. One day, maybe you'll be like me. Oh, by the way, buy my training. Yeah. And that was the presentation. Literally 8 in a row presentations, each one like that. I used to be poor. Now I'm rich. Buy my training. And we were just like, this is stupid. Like, why would I go to conferences? This is not the type of conference where I'm giving any value. I mean, this is just pitches of people to buy their trainings. So and also, if you went online, if you ask someone like, hey, what glue do you use? People are like, why are you asking? What do you want to know? I mean, there's this really defensive, like, I'm not telling the secrets of my lash success. So we really felt in 2017, I was a big Gary Vee fan, and I was following him, and he's really about, if you want to build a tribe, and also I was reading a lot of Seth Godin, and if you really want to build a tribe, that's Seth Godin talk, you need to build trust. And the only way you build trust is by serving your community. So if you want to build your brand, you want to build a product line, you want to build a successful business, you need to serve your community, and then you build that trust. And what we all trade is trust. If someone's going to give you money for your lash services, they're saying, I trust you. Here's $200. Give me some lashes. You're trading, exchanging trust. As long as you deliver that, they'll keep coming back and paying you more and more and more for that, because you've affirmed that trust. But so what we decided to do is like, well, we just need to start serving our community, because we really realized that by 2017, our salon had grown. We had turned a corner. We had been chaos, but now I felt like things were going well for us. And we thought, let's try to find ways to serve the community and begin to open the door so that, one, that people are alone, working alone in the room, can find a community. And two, for those who have questions, there will be places where you can find answers. So we recorded our podcast late 2017 and first aired it in 2018, in January of 2018. And at that time, there had been one other podcast, not Last Boss, that's Shelby. There was another podcast, it was on for like a year online, but her podcast ended. So we started in 2018, and then Shelby joined us just a month or two later. And then, now there's like 80,000 podcasts out there. And by the way, all sharing good information to help lash artists improve their business, improve their, and all that. So we really loved the encouragement. So we just saw a need. Really, is like always, like anything, before you build something, make sure there is a need for it. Because a lot of times we in our own heads think, oh, I know, I need this, like lashing rabbits, right? You can think it's really cool, but if no one needs it, it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to be literally spinning in the wind. And we knew that our industry was lacking information. There wasn't anything being shared freely. And we also knew our industry needed community and needed connection. And so maybe we could create a podcast where people can at least get around like the fireside chats back in the old days, where you sit around the radio, listen to it, and grow and learn.
Well, the other component that why we started the podcast was because we knew that we thought differently. We thought about lashes differently.
Yeah.
In fact, so many people have told me over the years, you do them wrong. And I said, this works for me. This works for my clients. It's built a very successful business. Could there possibly be more than one ways to skin a cat? Right. And so, I thought, I want to push back against there is only one way. And so there wasn't opportunities or forums to share ideas like that. So the only way that we thought we could do it is let's have a podcast. Let's talk about our weird ideas, and let's invite other people who have maybe ideas that aren't, according to the Lash Police, and let's talk about them. I believe that we can all be friends, even if we lash differently. So that's
where that came from. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, it's just like owners being friends with other owners and things like that. I kind of want to bring in this other point of, we talk about the tier system of, okay, I'm a lash artist, what's next? And I know not a lot, but people open salons, and then they're like, why did I open a salon? Why was that my next step? And then they're struggling financially, or they didn't even have a passion for it. Like, I just feel like that's such a good, you don't need to do like X, Y, and Z to be in this industry. Or if you're burnt out of lashes, don't just go and open up a salon and try to manage people. Yeah. Looking back, because I owned a salon, I don't think I'd ever own a salon again, because I don't think I am stern enough to own a salon, because it takes a lot of management, right?
Girl, I hear you. We should start a club.
Yeah.
We should start a club for those who have ever started a salon and would never do it again.
I think when it comes to salon management, what happens a lot of people, and this is where the E-Myth book is a really good book to read. For those of you who want to go on and run a salon, you should read the E-Myth, because it may make you realize that what you're doing is, just because you're they use a baker, great baker. Just because you're a great baker doesn't mean you're going to be a great store manager, right? Those are totally different skills. Just because you're great with lashes doesn't mean you know how to manage staff. If you're going to be a manager, like you said, you have to hold people accountable. You got to be okay with difficult conversations going, hey, I noticed you were 10 minutes late and your client had to wait. We can't keep doing that. Otherwise, we're going to have to let you go. Like that's not a conversation that most lash artists want to do. They're like, oh, I don't want to do it. I'll just let it happen. And then before you know, 10 years, a year later, now the employee's coming a half hour late and people are demanding refunds and it's this chaos. And by the way, other staff members who are on time start getting mad that you don't enforce the rules. And so they start showing up late and then you're in a spiral downward as like a salon because no one is there to hold anyone accountable. Also, you need to understand your numbers. You need to be able to look at what is the normal number. What are we going to make as revenue? How much are we going to pay? If you don't like numbers, you're not going to be a good manager of a business. There's so many skills that you're going to have to develop. So I always think if you're going to, let's just say you're a really busy lash artist, like, I know I'm going to hire staff. Great. You need to now first do some work and learn first what it means to be a leader before you hire a staff. Like take the next 6 months and start studying salon systems and what you need to learn so that you're more prepared. So you don't learn on the job. I mean, you always will learn on the job, but you don't want to learn on a job where you're just a nightmare because what happens, you'll hire people in 6 months, they'll all be gone and you'll start again. And if that's not what you want to do, because it's so costly to have that turnover. And I think one of the things, well, I'll just say this. One of the reasons why salon owners make no money. Well, there's, one or two reasons. They go commission, and commission, you can't make money because everyone thinks they should be making 50, 60, 7% commission rates.
Because you hear industry leaders, trainers saying, I pay my girls 70%,
which you cannot. And if I could sit down with the math, I could show you the math. You can't pay more than 40% commission rates and expect the salon owner to be able to make a living. Because otherwise what happens is every salon owner I know that does commission, they work 40, 50 hours a week themselves doing lashes. And then they're managing on top of that because they can't afford to go off the floor because they're paying their staff at 50, 60% commission rates, which completely breaks them. And then if anything, I know one pretty well-known person who has a salon. She doesn't even make a dime off her salon. It's just for bragging rights. All her money comes from training and other stuff.
Or product lines, something like that. That's how those people can charge us or give.
Oh yeah, the one that's the 70% doesn't make a dime off her salon. I guarantee you, that person does all through her training and products. So great. I mean, that's fine. If your model works like that, great. But let's be honest. Don't be telling other people who don't have training, don't have product lines that go do 70% commission rates, because I guarantee you they're going out of business next year, or that person's going to burn out and do something bad to themselves, like pick up drinking or something. So we don't want that. So we just want to have people have saying. So commission is a broken system. And also one that can kind of work is salon suites, but you got to really lower your expectations of salon suites, because really salon suites, you're just paying for your rent. You're not going to make a living off them because there's so little revenue for salon suites. Because if you charge too much, they all go to another place that's cheaper, because there's always a salon owner who doesn't know the value of their place and they'll charge a lot less. And so it's hard to maintain and build a salon suite unless you really build a really attractive reason for them to work there. So the best model that we love, which if you've listened to us at all, well, let's talk about is team-based, which is taught by a company called Strategies. It's a hourly plus bonus model, plus a whole bunch of systems that really run the salon structure well. We don't get paid for them to promote them, but we always do because we found it, we loved it. And every Shelby from Lash Boss Radio runs that. And I know quite a few other people in the industry now who are all team-based salons, and every one of them, when they run to switch over, never regret it. And they always finally get profitable, and the boss and the owner finally can get off the floor full time, which is really, I think, the goal of every owner. Say, I don't want to have to work 40 hours during the day and then 40 hours at night or a week in the evenings doing management. I want to be able to just work 40, 50 hours and be done at night and go home and see my family. Strategies and team-based model will actually get you there. So anyhow, the plug for them. Sorry about pushing a brand here, but I just want to tell people there is a way out there. If you really think about salon management, go to strategies.com, look up their stuff and learn. They have a 1 hour coaching call. And again, this is not endorsed or we're not affiliated. We get nothing from this. We just believe in it.
No, I think that's a good point too. And the 70% commission thing, that's just crazy. Like if you're thinking about owning a salon and being like, I don't want to make any money, I just want to own it. You'll be managing people. It is not a clock out kind of thing. Even if it is, you want that community base, I definitely think they should look at the option you just threw out there, because you'll be bugged. It's not worth free.
No, working for free just for bragging rights, because you also are legally liable. You also have the financial responsibility. If things go wrong, you're going to be the one that files bankruptcy, not the employees. They'll just walk away free and with all your clients practically. So for you, if you running a salon and you want to do that, God bless you, but just go with your eyes wide open that you are taking on a big thing, and don't just jump into it. I'll just figure it out as I go. Really evaluate, study the systems, learn, and then start reading books on management and so forth so that you can be a good boss, because that's the thing. People don't leave companies, they leave leaders. So if you build a business and everyone keeps leading, it's because you probably as a boss haven't figured out how to lead yet. People love to follow strong leaders. I still remember my favorite boss of all time. It was at Red Lobster. I love this guy, Marty. I would fought, against armies for him. That guy was amazing. And I was just a server at a restaurant, and yet still, because he was such a strong leader, I really, really believed in him and was willing to follow and do anything he said. And people will do that with leaders. In fact, people will even work for less money if they really find someone that they believe in and want to follow. That's inspiring them to be the best version of themselves. You can't really put a price tag on that.
No, I agree. So yeah, don't jump into salon ownership just because that's the next step.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to bring that up to education too.
Yeah.
Like I just want lash artists to know, like, you can find, like we said, a fitness way to do lashes or all these things that, a podcast, like, don't just do something because it's the next step. And I kind of want to turn that into education, because I feel like they're like, okay, well, I guess I don't want to own a salon, so I'm going to do education and just throw my stuff out there. But I don't like speaking in front of people, or, is my content even worth it? But, I'll just throw it out there and charge, and we'll see what happens. Like, let's go down that route.
Yeah.
That's another thing that like really gets my goose.
I'm bringing out pain points here.
There are pain points. Okay. Like, I understand you've been doing lashes for 2 years and you think to yourself, what's next? I know, since I know everything about lashes, I'm going to teach other people to do what I do. The thing is that sounds nice, but like, how is it tested? How have you ever proven your model? If you just, take somebody's money and teach them what then you look at what they've done with their knowledge, and is it effective or not? The only way that you can judge them is how successful are they in applying those skills. Now, it is really hard to build an effective curricula. And for us, it started out of necessity, is because we had a salon and I had standards. I wanted the work to be consistent, and I wanted everybody to be thoroughly trained the same way that I was doing lashes. And that required developing a protocol. It took me a very long time to teach my staff how to do the lashes in the same way that I wanted them to do it. I mean, at first it was just, do the lashes, just do it. And I'd come back and check on them. And that process took like 3 months. And then it got better and better and better, because I had something to test their ability. It was like, how effective, how soon can I get you on the floor? That was the test. That was the success. If you were able to get onto the floor and handle every situation that came in, that means my training was effective. So whenever you're doing training, it's like you have to test yourself. How effective are your students at building that business, handling the stuff that's coming at them? If you look at them 2 months from their training and they are not full, they are not booked, they are not, you got to ask yourself, was I super effective? And then you ask yourself, am I playing the long game, or am I just trying to get money from them? Right. So, I mean, I don't know how you could test that if you weren't depending on those people's skills. I mean, the people that I think that have had to depend on training their students, because like for employee situations, those are the people that have been tried and tested. And I would be, feel more comfortable about investing in that kind of instruction.
I think too many people in our industry try to jump to be a trainer because they think the money's easy. They just go, oh, I know, I'm just going to be a trainer after a year of lashing. I'll be a trainer. And instead of making only, like $400 a day, I'll make $10,000 in one weekend. And
students will just flock to me.
Oh yeah. They'll just flock to me because I'm a trainer. And they don't realize that, man, you know what most trainers don't do very well? They don't know how to market. They have no clue how to market. Why would anyone pay you money, especially if you're trying to charge $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for training? Why would anyone pay you a freaking dime to come to training with you if all you post is some pictures on Instagram? Like,
and 1 or 2 days of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Share with you a story. A gal who came to one of our classes at a premiere show came up to us very, very earnest, very sweet. And she said, I have been doing lashes for about a year. I've been doing it in my home. And now what I want to do is I want to get into training. I said, well, tell me about your idea. She's like, well, I want to take all these classes so that I can know all their techniques so I can teach anybody's technique. And I said, that sounds quite ambitious, but who's your ideal student? She's like, oh, anybody who wants to do lashes and have their own salon. I said, do you consider yourself to have a salon? She's like, well, I have a home-based business. I said, that's great. But do you consider it, like, would you be comfortable about, she's like, well, I was trying to get her to see that she hasn't done what she's trying to teach yet, and then was trying to get her to see that why would somebody pay you to teach a secondhand version of their like
Original,
Allie's class,
yeah.
Allie, Layer Slayer. Why would somebody go to you to learn Allie? There's some disconnect with what she was thinking. It's like, I think she was just thinking I could make more money this way.
And that's the problem. Too many people are attracted to it just for the money, think the money flows. And by the way, here's breaking news in case people know. I know most major trainers in their country, and they secretly, almost all of them have told me that all their trainings are down. Like everyone across the board, all the trainings are down. It's kind of like we went through this thing pre-COVID, and then we had a little dip during COVID, and then right after COVID, there was another big push for training. And the last year, trainings are just like people are having a hard time. And by the way, just a little insider trick here, what you'll see people do, they're not selling class enough students, so they'll cancel it and they'll put sold out on their thing because they don't want to look bad, right? They don't want to look like I just canceled the class. No, they'll just say sold out, and then they just won't. They'll quietly move on and try to get their next class sold out. And so just, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors on Instagram. Like I think most people know, don't believe anything you see on Instagram. It's all fake. Everyone is finding ways to make themselves look better than they are because they're trying to sell you, right? So I think one of the things that people don't really realize, again, going back to this, when you get into this, it's really going to be, if you want to be a trainer, you got to say, I'm going to learn to be a marketer. Just like when you want to be a salon owner, you saying, I want to learn how to run the salon systems. If you want to be a trainer, you almost have to be just as excited about marketing. Meaning like now you're going to have to create content. Because what I said earlier, what do we trade? We trade trust. Well, how do you get trust? You got to give people reasons to engage with you, watch your content. That's why we have a podcast, by the way, and why we have Instagram is we are giving information to build that trust. So people go, oh, I really like what Tuss said. I like what Paul said. What else do they have going on? Oh, wow, they have classes. Oh, wow, they have an event. Oh, wow, they do this. I'll buy that because I trust them emphatically. And so if you're not ready to put the time in to say, I'm going to post on Instagram every day, some tips, some helpful information. And by the way, be careful even with that because there's a lot of people just sharing stuff and it's this copycat cookie cutter stuff. It's almost like boring. I just flip through my Instagram like, oh my gosh, this is all the same people saying the same thing. Kind of boring. You got to start thinking outside the box. You got to start looking, how can I be different? If you're seeing everyone going one way, then you need to say, I'm going to go the opposite direction just to be different so I stand out in the crowd. If you're just doing what everyone else does, you're average. And average never gets anyone anywhere. You always have to be above average or excellent if you want to be seen or heard. So if you're thinking about training, I really think you need to start really reading, looking at, listen to podcasts, read books on marketing. Donald Miller is a great guy who really teaches a lot about business and marketing. Strongly recommend you read any of his books on story brand, marketing made simple. Will really give you some tools that will help you rethink how you go about marketing so that you're not one of these trainers who just thinks like, I create a website. Oh, I post once a week. And why aren't I getting students? And by the way, that's what most trainers are right now. You think they're booked out and they have 80 students signed up every week. They do not. They do not have that many. In fact, I know one big trainer who was just skyrocketing and all of a sudden things just kind of slowed down. They're like, yeah, it's weird, but things just haven't been going at the same pace the last few months. So it's because the marketing is also has to keep evolving. You can't just do one video and just think you post it out and everyone buys your training. You're going to have to continue to find new ways to engage people, solve problems, create value. And then when you do that, you build that trust and then people will sign up for your training and hopefully you'll be successful. But yeah, there's stuff to think about.
Well, and it's just like owning a salon. Like we said, like when you leave as a trainer, you're not done. I feel like when they come and pay you, if you're
to make you good to great is when you're following up with your students, or you're paying someone to follow up with your students. If you're not, if you're so big, you need that help. I think that's what makes someone good to great, is like, hey, how's it going? Or, thanks for your 2 days. See you never. Go take someone else's
I used to call
class.
that drive-by training, where people would fly in, do training, and leave, and you'd never hear from them again. I was like, the drive-by training sucks. And one thing that we do is actually Tusney gives out her cell phone to all our students. So when they're done the class, she says, by the way, you have my direct line. You can always reach out to me and I'll answer questions, show me updates about your work. I love to see how you're growing. And we really want to build that relationship. We also give them access to all the videos from our classes. So we show probably like 30 videos of demos. We always do in-house demos too, but we do a lot of pre-recorded stuff that we show in our presentation, and we give them access to all those videos. So when they're done and they're trying to struggle with something, like, oh, that's right, they have example videos I can go watch, and we catalog it and we send them the link, and they can go back and watch all those videos anytime they need to, so that they can remind themselves of techniques or angles or how to put your hands and all that.
Training where they aren't even given the
handbook.
The handbook.
You can't even take it home with you.
They only have it for a certain 24, 38 hour window or
yeah.
Yeah. I think we switched too as a company with our trainers. We're doing one-on-ones. That's what we're selling. So, I mean, it's different. Like you said, we threw that option out there as like, instead of groups, let's just do one-on-ones. We feel like it's more personable. Like you said, like, the big group trainings, I wasn't personally doing the trainings anymore. Because of my whole daughter's thing. So I didn't trust, some of my educators with bigger groups. I would rather shrink it down and do one-on-ones with them so they can get that training they need. The educator's not stressed, the student's not stressed. Yeah. And we put a dollar amount to it. So I think, like you said, it's adjusting and seeing what else is out there and seeing if it works. And if it doesn't work, you can always change it too. It's just like, what you guys have done and found your little niche.
Yeah. Try it, everything. And with the idea that you may have to change it, never set your mind at anything and go, this is how it's going to be. Like I always say, hold loosely to your plans, because man, you're going to pivot. I guarantee you're going to pivot. I mean, LashCon, all I do is pivot every day. There's always a new problem coming up every day. It's like, oh, we can't do this. Oh, this is going to not work. Oh, this is going to cost me $10 trillion to do. Okay, I guess we're not doing that. So, I mean, it's just always change. And if you are one of those people that think you want to be one and done, then don't do any of this. Like, go work as an employee somewhere where it's all predetermined and you just work for them, which is fine, by the way. If you like that control, you like that consistency, being an employee is a great place for a lot of people. If you're an entrepreneur, you got to be a lot more grit, and you have to be able to pivot and change with the winds, because every day there will be something new and that you have to confront.
Yeah. I think it's like you said, there's just so many options you can take, and you can't be offended when the door shuts or when it doesn't work out. Because, before, this started, I worked for another lash company and I was their educator, and I just didn't think it fit me. And then you left, and then, it's so hard. Like, you close doors and you open doors, but don't just sit there and be like, okay, well, I feel like this is what I have to do to make it in this industry, or I'm in a rut and I'm going to quit lashes, versus like, well, maybe I need to add this or try this, or, maybe go apply to be an educator for a company or an influencer. Maybe it's less restrictions you want, versus like, okay, I'm done. Or I'm going to just open up a salon. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I think I'm going to be so great at it because I can lash.
I can do anything. If I can lash, I can go to the moon. A lot of people think that. By the way, I forget who shared this with us, but there was a person on our podcast, and I loved it when they talked about closed doors. Say, when things don't work out, you get the lesson you were meant to learn. Yeah. And I love that idea, because then it's not really failure, right? It's really, oh, wow, I learned I'm not really good at, let's say, reels. Like, I suck at reels. I've tried reels for a year, and my Instagram has actually lost more clients or lost more followers than gained, right? Because maybe I'm just not very good at reels. It's okay to learn that lesson, because then you go, well, then I'm going to hire someone to do reels for me, and or find a partner, or find someone else. Like my young kid maybe can come on and do reels for me, and they're a lot more funny and interesting than I am. Whatever it is, there's a lesson to be learned, and that is helpful, because you'll grow as a entrepreneur, and you'll do better because of that. Unless you're stubborn and bullheaded, and then you won't learn that lesson, and then maybe you'll just keep making the same dumb mistake, and then eventually that'll lead to burnout, and you'll quit. So don't do that.
It's very true. Well, I just wanted to thank you guys for being, the industry trendsetters in a way of like, I mean, it's not even a trend what you're like breaking barriers. I don't even know how, you're coming up with things that need to, like, you found a pain point, and I think it's so cool of what you guys are doing, because every lash company wants to be at your event, and every lash artist does, because wow, you guys are catering to us for once. Like, how beautiful is that? And with your podcast and with all of your previous background, with opening up a salon, having trainers, being a lash artist, I think it's so cool that you guys have tried every door, and maybe some got slammed on you, and that's okay. And you can share that and say, hey, it's not a one size fits all. Come in this industry, look what we've done.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Well, thank you,
Alexis. It's been an honor. Thank you so much for having us on to share our thoughts, and hopefully, your listeners got something from this. They can grow. It's a big wide world out there for them, just for the taking. So
yeah, I just want to, I guess, encourage again, what reemphasize, when you're thinking what's next, always be looking for that pain point. Every product and every service out there solves a problem. And if you don't see a problem, all you do is you fall in love with your idea, that's not enough. Don't fall in love with never fall in love with your ideas. We had a saying that, and when I was in the film world and we were writing scripts, we had, sometimes you have to sacrifice your babies because you're like, oh, I love this scene. This scene's gonna be awesome. And you're like, oh, it'll be funny, or it'll be a super action. And you're like, but it doesn't serve the movie at all. In fact, it's a distraction. And we're like, okay, I guess we'll cut that scene out. And that really hurts, but it doesn't serve the thing. So you really need to think, how can I serve the industry? How can I create something that's special, that really meets a need? And then, man, lean into that and see how it goes. Cause I think you'll find a lot more success than just every creative idea that comes to your mind. And you're like, oh, I can do all these things. And then, you'll find yourself broke and angry and bitter because no one likes your idea. Well, yeah, that's a lesson maybe you had to learn, right? It's like, okay, bad idea, but definitely look for that pain point. And when you can totally, I think you have a much greater chance of evolving and finding a solution for that will really serve our industry, and you can benefit from it. So yeah.
Awesome. And if you guys haven't bought tickets, to all of our listeners, come in October.
Yes.
It's going to be so much fun. If not, just like be like, okay, kids, we're going to Disneyland. Oh, wait, mom's going to be gone for a few hours and going to go better myself. So I just wanted to give you guys, another shout out. LashCon is in October. Please come. There's so many great vendors there. Like, I saw the lineup. Like, it is like, oh man, like I would just be, candy shop right there, as well as listen to their podcast.
Yeah,
it is amazing. LashCast, they're amazing. So much great advice from the two of them. So thank you guys so much again.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Alexis.